Alrighty guys, a very warm welcome to another video. Today we are discussing Jan Frodeno, who many consider the absolute GOAT, greatest of all time of triathlon, whether it's Olympic distance, across to Ironman, but particularly Ironman and long course triathlon. And obviously Olympic champion, Olympic distance champion, three-time Ironman, KONA, world champion, and many other incredible accolades in the sport of triathlon. And we know that he's been burdened by a lot of injuries and misfortune. He's had his knee problems, he's had his Achilles problems, he's even had a bike crash, which led to an infection of the hip. And obviously all of these things compound, which led to, a pretty disappointing for him 2022 season. And one thing that many don't remember is even any kind of medical intervention, or I guess more so what we're referring to as antibiotic intervention. So for example, when he went into hospital, he had to have a short hospital stay with his hip infection. Obviously then he'd be receiving intravenous antibiotics, and anytime that your body is taking in antibiotics, whether it's oral, whether it's intravenous, they are all reaching obviously the site of infection to clear that up, but generally around the whole body. They'll be reaching most areas of the body, so particularly the gut. And most of our bacteria in our body is within the gut itself. And so much evidence has been merging, recent evidence, old evidence, and past understandings of the what's called the microbiota, or the microbiome gut axis connection. Essentially, the bacteria in our gut is responsible for the production of many neurotransmitters and precursors to neurotransmitters, whether that's dopamine, serotonin, etc. It's also responsible, of course, assisting the uptake of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and general digestion overall, among many things we don't even understand, particularly inflammation, etc. So whenever we wipe that out with IV antibiotics or oral antibiotics, or any antibiotic, anti meaning against, or anti, and biotic meaning life, so anti-life, we're destroying the gut microbiome, and that's going to have significant impacts on our athletic performance for some period of time until we kind of rebuild that up and recover that gut microbiome. So whether that's a week, whether that's a month, or whether that's multiple months, will depend on the athlete and their previous state of health, and the approaches that they're taking to rebuild that up. So it's not one thing to, I guess, brush over anytime which you are taking antibiotics. And it's an important thing to realize: if you are an athlete and you do need a course of antibiotics for whether it's an injury, an infection, etc., or post-surgery or whatever, just be careful with your return to training and don't push the body too much, because remember that while they are life-saving in the sense of avoiding you losing either a limb due to an infection or dying due to sepsis or something like that, realize too that there are adverse off-target effects, which of course is destroying your gut microbiome, and that takes time to rebuild. So be careful and be gentle on yourself when getting back into training. So we'll start nonetheless. This was from yesterday, from Try247, almost ready to get this season off to a start. Jan Frodeno nears return. So it may only have been a line long, but there's been a potentially significant and welcome update from Jan Frodeno this afternoon. The three-time Ironman World Championship winner at Kona has been working his way back to full fitness after a frustrating 2022, which ended in July at Challenge Roth, where he led the way before exiting the race early on the run. So in that race, he was passed by Magnus Ditlev early on the run. And of course, as I state here, he was leading, looking quite good in terms of his fitness and general composure. But obviously he had that injury going on, I believe with his Achilles at the time, which forced him to withdraw. So the year was blighted by an Achilles issue, a knee problem, and then a bike crash, which led to a serious infection in his hip, necessitating a spell in hospital, of course. And this was where he would have been on the antibiotics for sure, with the infection in the hip. But the great news is that all seems to be going well, judging by his his Instagram post, which read, between 6-kilometer swim sets with JR, which is Edward John Rogers, in Noosa, and now swimming at altitude in Andorra, I feel almost ready to get the season off to a start. And is there a cue or a clue that he could be starting his season off at Challenge. This was a photo from Challenge Roth. So the modern day GOAT, who also has an Olympic gold medal, 2-time 70.3 world titles, and much more on his CV, has been sorely missed at the top end of the sport. So the very fact that he feels close to a return is hugely positive, and he's not an athlete who just eases into any race. Of course, we know this with Jan. Of course, he likes to hit any race that is targeting at peak fitness and wants to be winning any race that he is making a target or putting of high importance on his race calendar. So for sure, I'm certain that when he does return, he will make sure he's in the best shape possible and leaving no stone unturned. The big question now is, where will the comeback race be, and how big a clue are the photos he's added to the post, which appear to be from Challenge Gran Canaria. So this was, I think, in 2021. So his last appearance in that event, saw him take the win in 2021. And this year's renewal of this event here, the challenge race, is on April 22nd. So that's, what are we now? February 4th. So yeah, a couple months, a little bit over a couple months away. It all comes hot on the heels of an encouraging update from Alistair Brownlee, the man who succeeded Frodeno as Olympic champion. He is hoping they're both back on the start line soon. Certainly, it would be fantastic to see both of those guys back in full fitness. And obviously, Jan hasn't given an exact comeback race as to what he's planning on, racing for his first race of 2023, and what is likely going to be his last race, or last season, I should say, in triathlon. We know he's committed to racing the Ironman World Championship at Nice, even though it's not at Kona, and he's been very outspoken of the fact that he's disappointed it's not in Kona, but I guess has kind of turned it into a positive and basically said, well, it's disappointing, but at the end of the day, it's something different, and it's a World Championship, and I'm going to try and show up and race as best as possible, regardless of whether it's in Kona or not, even though he is certainly expressed his disappointment, or has expressed his disappointment of the fact that he will not be racing his last World Champs at Kona. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Post any opinions or suggestions as to where you think he will be racing. Will it be on April 22nd at this challenge race? Will it be later? Will it be earlier? I don't think it would probably be any earlier, but let me know what you guys think. And some good news from Jan Frodeno there. So take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see everyone in the next video.